us, intend to do the right thing. We do things that are oppressive unintentionally. I've lived in a lot of places and a lot of different types of places, and you don't meet a whole lot of people who are openly hateful or oppressive. They're out there, but the more insidious oppression, the one that sort of creeps under everyone's doors, that's I'm a good member of the community, I love everyone, and the behavior in general fits that. It's the private thoughts and the ways that we speak, and the ways that we choose a neighborhood, the ways that we spend our money, the ways we spend our time,
This is another way of sending that message across and educating others too. And this is a better way of definitely fighting that oppression too. And I hope that I can get that message across. I hope that I can get the message that it is hateful and it is painful. But I also want to send the message across that there's ways to others, that there are ways that we can try to erase that eventually.
To me, there's a lot of black women there just like me, that have that strong, not that, and I don't think that we're all just strong, it's just that drive to keep going, because, we do get hurt, we do feel pain, and we do struggle, but it's something in us that decides, hey, we still have to get up.
There's this personal thing of like, okay, well, to be congruent with myself, to exist in as Lance, I have to be able to say this so that what you did was wrong. So at least you have the chance to think about this. And so, that's really difficult. It's a huge challenge. And maybe I don't always want to be respectful. Maybe sometimes I just want to be like, you're an asshole. How dare you?
You may not understand these experiences, but please at least see that I'm hurting and that this has happened to me, and believe it. Believe that I'm hurting from it.
Oppression is hard for me because I've never experienced it, at least not that I've been consciously aware of. I talk about, I'm the white guy between the ages of 18 and 45, just stuck that one under the wire. So things get pretty well handed to me, and I never realized that probably until my mid-20s. And this idea that life is very easy for me, even though I think it's difficult sometimes, that in the general scheme of things, I'm very much in the upper echelon when it comes to having an easy life.
Having to fit into the dominant culture, and I'm never, it fit into just, it doesn't resonate with me so much. We all have to navigate the dominant culture towards some sort of success that's kind of defined by the culture and mores of the dominant culture. Mm-hmm. That's part of it. So you have to do that, okay? Even you have to do that. But it doesn't feel like, it doesn't feel like you've got to do anything special because you're swimming in the air you breathe. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
What I do accept is the fact that I have a lot of privileges, a lot of opportunities, that I live in a world where I don't have to look over my shoulder, and other people do. And other people don't have certain privileges and certain opportunities.
It has a history. Obviously I'm African American. I plug into that history. I was, very much aware of that. My parents brought me up very much aware of that. And it's something that if you are part of a culture group that experiences that, it just changes your whole view from my perspective.
I was always aware that I wasn't blind to oppression. I knew it was happening, that stuff like that. But I wasn't aware of my role in it necessarily, or how I was benefiting. I could see that other people were being oppressed by but that how I was personally benefiting. So that, I mean, that's something that's just really uncomfortable to look at.
I think that's a big part of my understanding of oppression, is that it's not just the action, but sort of the whole idea that there's not a safe spot, or if there is, it's very small, and that I couldn't trust my environment to protect me the way that someone else might be able to. You know, and there are other things that feed into that, you know, but that was a big thing. It was like, okay, well, you know, because, you know, who can you go when, like, your parents are the people doing that, you know, when the government is doing that, when that stuff is happening in the hallways, and there's not a single teacher, you know, sees it or does anything about it when they hear it.
I always felt like basically it was standing up for people who are oppressed.
Okay.
And when I always, you know, and I felt like that a lot of my life I've done that. I feel like, you know, in different situations that I've been someone that would stand up for somebody who was oppressed in whatever situation. You know, I look back in my family situation, people that we encountered in our town and things like that. But then in the last, you know, since this summer, then I realize that also means standing up for myself when I'm in a situation that I'm being oppressed. And that was kind of a new thought for me.
I guess something is oppression when the force is too large to be able to fight back against, when the fight really is unfair. Because I do think that a certain amount of struggle is just inherent. We're going to have struggle, we're going to have to fight. It's just the sense of something that is so stacked against a person that there's nothing they can do, but they still are going to fight because they have to try to survive, but it's just not set up so that they can.
To do that, or in order to get closer to that goal, is to be part of the anti-oppression, to be on that side. Because if you're not there for me, then you're part of the oppressor.
I was probably about 11 or 12, and my best friend was Hispanic, and we were playing together, and we used to play all the time together, and then all of a sudden she came to me and told me, well, I can't play with you anymore. And I'm like, I was upset because, you know, this is my best friend telling me she can't play with me. And she says, because you're a nigger.
And we had a black lady that worked for us. Her name was Pearl, really a sweet, kind of a lost soul. And shouldn't tell stories on my mother because she was really a great woman, but it was a different time. But Pearl would come and she would iron for us. We were poor. I mean, Pearl got like 50 cents for coming and spending the day ironing. And but she couldn't, you know, she was given ice water, but in a mayonnaise jar, not one of the regular glasses. Now, we didn't have any glasses that even matched. I mean, it's not like, you know, we had really nice glasses and we were afraid that Pearl would break them. So, you know, there was a message there that, you know, that Pearl was different.
When I was 14, my grandmother took me shopping. We bought a dress that I loved. We were walking out of the mall, and an African-American girl, a little older than me, started walking towards us in that dress. My grandmother turned to me and said, do you want to take that dress back? By that time I was angry. I was really upset.
I guess it was been 4 years ago right now, where they would have like a picture of Obama up, and they were egging. You could pay to throw an egg at the picture of Obama. Well, then like Fox News, like CNN comes out or something. CNN covered that one, so they covered the blackface that was like the year previous, and then they covered the Obama egging, right? So then it became very clear that regardless of what people said, there was an atmosphere in which people felt like it was okay to do these things.
When I was at this restaurant and they they called the cops on me because the waiter, well, according to the waiter, he said I was drunk. I was not drunk at the time. Actually, I was drinking water. But then he came to say that it was because of my accent, so because of the way I talk.
In middle school, I was in 7th grade, and I was kind of shy and kind of nerdy, I guess. And I just remember students of another race pushing me down the stairs, and they would say ching chong, things like that. So I think that was the first time that I really realized that that there was just a lot of racism out there, and where I had thought this whole world was perfect, and I come from this little bubble. I think my bubble finally broke at that point.
When I was little, when I was in preschool, I remember one night we were stopping at my friend Stevie Estes' house, and we were gonna watch Star Wars. And the reason I say Luke is because we were gonna watch Star Wars, and my brother was in the back seat, and he was like, "Yeah, and I'm gonna kiss Princess Leia." And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna kiss Luke," and my dad just goes off and yells, and he's like, "You are a boy. You do not like boys. You like girls." And it was very okay, well, I'm not gonna do that.
End of 7th grade, there was this incident where a group of boys stopped me on the way back from gym class, and they were kind of just teasing and bullying, but it had a really nasty edge. Really nasty, slightly sexual edge. And I remember seeing other people walk past. And I realized that there was nothing that they couldn't do to me. There's nothing they could do to me that anyone would intervene.
Like, I had one of the halal moms after practice, run her hands through my long blonde ponytail, and she's like, "The last time I touched a ponytail this color, I was dragging it through the dirt. It's so funny." And she didn't say it in a hostile way, but I kind of was just like, "You were touching my head." And I didn't feel unsafe because that was just kind of a thing. I was used to that, but I became used to that. Mm-hmm. And so I think that some of the shame from being white came from internalizing that as business as usual, that's what being white means. It's a bad thing.
We had a guy follow us around in a store, screaming and yelling about how all the dirty Mexicans were stealing all the white women, and it's sort of a joke between me and him, because he says he's chameleon brown, which is brown at the moment, whatever somebody doesn't like, that every time we've come back into the country from traveling, we get stopped at customs every single time.
It hurts to think that my amazing, intelligent, smart, funny husband is perceived as not worthy of me. And I often think it's the opposite.
Brings your self-concept and your identity, it pushes it down, your self-esteem, I think it does. It's you don't care. It's you don't matter.
I always felt like I have to say something about, my education, or I have to say this before I feel people kind of validate me. Mm-hmm. A lot of times I've had to do that. Or they just think, they make assumptions that, you don't have an education, or, you're just, project mother that don't care about your kids, They don't know anything about me, but people really do make assumptions.
To look at me and say, you're right. I'm sorry that happened to you. You're right. Someone was racist, or someone, didn't like you because you were Chinese, or something. It's better than being ignored and just acting like everything was okay. Mm-hmm. I understand it was people's intentions. They were trying to make me feel better. But I think it would have helped a lot more if someone had just said, "I believe you, you're right."
I walk through the world, and you see very few faces, even in this program, that reflect who you are. The faces I've seen in my journey have been faces more of the dominant culture. So that's where I'm navigating and moving from.
So not only are these people feeling that it's okay to be overtly racist in the middle of campus and do blackface videos and post them online? Fox News decides of all the places in the country to host their coverage of the election, let's do it at Texas A&M University. It's all this is going on as I'm really coming to terms with what is oppression, what is racism, what does it mean to be white, what does it mean to be white and male, what does it mean to be white, male, and straight.
Even as I sit up here and talk about this, I'm thinking, this, you probably, I don't know that you even get this. Yeah. Strictly because you're white. Yeah, maybe, maybe intellectually you get it.
I was getting physically hurt, and nobody was doing anything about it, so it made me just question, it made me feel really insecure about myself. That was around the time that I started to get really insecure about who I was, the way I looked, the color of my skin.
I would have kind of just blow it off or just look the other way, but it kept just slapping me in the face, just kind of like, I'm here. This is happening. And so it became more hurtful and just more painful, that people would not look at me as just a capable individual.
To me, it's like they're breaking their spirit, and I think that's what happens with people that when they have to deal with racism. It's a breaking of the spirit in them to feel like, oh well, maybe that is true. I'm not anybody. I can't make it, or whatever.
I'm aware that the price I had to pay to get there was a whole lot lower than the price other people have to pay. They have to pay a whole lot more to get there. And this is something that the realization of that has come, as I said, was later in this idea that things are very much easier. And that even though I might speak out against certain prejudices and things like that, I have still benefited from the fact that I am who I am. So everything's easier for me. And at times I'm okay with that. And that's not easy either.
I'm a little ashamed of some of the reasons that I wanted to go to New York. It wasn't in the city, it was upstate. But I was really wanting to be around people who I felt were maybe more similar to me. They looked more similar, maybe. They valued things that were more similar. And it was kind of a knee-jerk and wounded reaction, I think, to some of the experiences I had growing up. And I was relieved to be around people who looked more like me.
So people who are more racially similar?
Yeah, people who were more white. I'm embarrassed a little by that now. But I have some compassion about it too, I think.
It's really challenging because I feel like it's going to be, I don't know. It's challenging because I feel like I'm being a burden. And like it's not, by acting out, by fighting for this right to be equal, which I should not have to do in the first place. Like these are rights, they should be granted. Equality is kind of a thing that you're promised when you're a kid in America. And then you learn how many asterisks there are behind that and how many qualifiers there are to that statement. And then on top of that, it's just like, well, you can't leave well enough alone. Why can't you just settle? Or why can't you just put your stuff on hold so that we can deal with this stuff over here? And it really does make you feel like a special interest group. And that's not easy.
I think it's easier for somebody to just shoot somebody or stab somebody, just don't die quicker. But when you're oppressing somebody, it's like you're torturing that person forever. It's like you're feeling that knife or that shot wound for the rest of your life. that pain.
I feel like I'm at the point where if I don't talk about it, I'm never going to be healed from all the pain that I've experienced in the past. So maybe I was just at my breaking point of I don't know what else to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm filled up to here with all this hurt and all this pain, and I need to speak about it. And maybe even if nothing more than just one person listening, and maybe just that one person being changed by my story, you know?
The only way I think that people are fundamentally wounded or hateful or angry is if something has been taken from them or if they're wounded. Like if they are hurt or oppressed and realizing that they were both hurt and oppressed and that their country and their sovereignty were taken from them. I was just kind of like, oh.
I felt pain before, but when it comes to an actual specific experience of being, like, for example, somebody that just, like, being stabbed or somebody that got raped, then I don't think you're really, like, fully 100% feel that pain. And I think that's what I felt when I actually felt the experiences of being oppressed. Then I realized I was able to be more with the oppressed people and be like, this is really messed up. This is really hurtful. This is not safe. This is inhumane. And that's when that's when I decided to speak out more. Definitely by experiencing it myself.
My Declaration of Independence was against fear. And I thought about it a long time. And so that's my whole Declaration of Independence was all against fear. And I declared that I would not fear anymore. And and it was mainly fear for someone rejecting me or whatever. I've never feared for my life. I didn't ever think anybody would kill me because I'm gay. I'm sure that's a possibility. People would beat you up, but that's not what I didn't fear the physical. It's always been the emotional or the job type thing, which is pretty, important. The ostracism.
If I have this idea that things should be more equal, if I have this idea that I don't deserve things just because of who I am, then I have to behave that way all the time. Picking and choosing just when it's convenient for me is no worse than just not doing it at all.
It's very easy to discount something you hear about, but when it's a person that you know sitting across the table from you, who you've become more close with and have started to build this relationship with, so now feels comfortable enough to say, this was my experience. It's just overall, it's like really disappointing. And then motivating.
All the times that I didn't fight back and wasn't able to. I think I associate with that more than with the people outside myself. Like there were so many times where I just was too tired to do anything for myself. And I really wish I had. I wish I had energy, support. I wish I'd been able to do something. And so it's harder for me to let it go because then I have to sit with that feeling of being helpless.
I think that part of this, again, is being able to say things that are uncomfortable and being able to share those with people, because one of the things that I really took away from the diversity class is speaking about things like that. People need to hear from people that look like me.
In their lifetime, what I would hope for, that I think is a reasonable hope, is that the world becomes so mixed up, melted together, that there are so many more ways to look at human beings than just a couple of categories we have. I would like to see opportunity, same kinds of opportunities for everybody, so that achievement really is based on merit and not on other things, you know, and so that they get credit for their achievements, you know, so that people don't assume that because they're white that they didn't work very hard. They did. So that people don't assume that because they're Hispanic they didn't work very hard, or they didn't, you know, I would like for their lives to be based on their own merits.
What keeps me going is because I know there are other people out there that don't get it. And I'm not talking about white people, I'm talking about even African Americans that don't get it. And I see myself as a mentor and a teacher, you know, and that's what I do with my students, you know, because I would love for them not to go through what I went through.
What exactly am I fighting for? Well, I'm fighting to be treated like a human being and to have my life be not questioned by people, whether it's on the basis of politics or religion or whatever. Like, you know, it's something that should not exist, and I should not have to fight for it. So I'm already dealing with that, and on top of that, now I have to convince all of these other people, not just the people who are actively against me, but the people who are not doing anything. And that's the challenge.